The contrast could not be clearer. The people's president trying to raise your wages and deliver prosperity, and Joe Biden hobnobbing with the billionaires because those are the people who benefit from his policies.
Okay, so he's the one who wants to raise your wages, and JD Vance says that about Trump, who will as we'll turn to, has a very different view than he would imply on wages. But he's saying that on Fox News, which is like fresh off of freaking out about the fact that some workers in California's wages just went up. And that's not like a random position of theirs. They can always be depended on to demonize the poorest people making literally a cent more than they already do. So I don't even understand the doublethink at this point. But perhaps we could just focus on Trump, who had said about union workers, they get their little 5%, they get another 2%. All of a sudden, they're making more money than the people that own the company, which is definitely a thing that's happened at least once in American history. It bothers him so much that unionized workers might get a raise of 5% or 2%. I'll remind you, Elon Musk's wealth after the tax cut went up by 850%, and others gained massive amounts as well. Billionaires on average doubled their wealth, but he will begrudge you making 5% more. And this is not a new thing for Donald Trump. Notably, in 2015, he said in his opening statement at a debate in the Republican primary that wages are too high. Not like union wages are too high or a specific sector's wages are too high. The blanket statement, wages are too high, which I stupidly, naively at the time thought would end his career in politics, but it didn't. And to be clear, it didn't like not end his career because he turned away from that position. He doubled down on that statement saying, no, you heard me right, our wages are too high. So I say this for you, dear audience, to see, but also for Senator JD Vance. He's not the guy you're pretending he is. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Listen, in order for the Damage Report to keep on going, we need viewers like you to become a member on YouTube. Can you click the join button on YouTube today? Thank you. Brett, what are your thoughts?
Like Joe Biden has said that our unions are the best unions in the world. He went and actually joined the picket line. Like he's done things that no president has ever done. That's just stuff that's on its face pretty obvious. Donald Trump, like remember when Mitt Romney had a hidden camera video exposed that he said that 47% of Americans are never gonna vote for us. They're gonna vote for Obama because they're on the take from the government. They're dependent on government assistance. That took some kind of political acumen to understand as dismissive a very 1%ery thing to say, because it's like sent through a filter of the welfare state and coded language from the Reagan era. Here's Donald Trump out there saying, you get paid too much. Hey, worker, you get paid too much. You should have absolutely no leverage in the workplace. You should have no representation. This is a guy who is a yuppie. He is the emblem of the yuppie from the 80s. He is Coke smoke personified. He is when people were like, oh my God, sushi's gonna be a thing. By the way, let's be vulture capitalists. That is Donald Trump. Yeah. And it comes down to one thing that I've noticed about Biden. He just needs a vibe. Biden doesn't have a vibe. The reason I think that Trump is able to make these claims so brazenly is at least he has a vibe. At least he's got some swagger about him. And he's such a pathological liar. At least he says it confidently. I don't get a single vibe from Biden. Biden, who invested in union jobs through the infrastructure bill.
Yeah.
But Trump would never do that. Has never done it, proudly says that it's a stupid idea to pay people more. How are people ever gonna believe it? The answer quite simply is he has a vibe, and he has folks like JD Vance and the Fox News and the entire extended right-wing media apparatus echoing those claims over and over and over again.
Yeah, we will never know if even with his vibe, like an unadulterated Republican electorate would buy or not buy his statements, because we don't have that. It's not an experiment you can run. All we have is people whose minds have been reduced to a lumpy mush by years and years of Fox News. And so they'll believe that simultaneously, Biden is too mean to companies and they're constantly trying to raise minimum wage, But also he's bad because he doesn't care about wages. And Trump, who says they're too high, is actually the guy that cares about them. And look, I'm tempted to say I don't understand how you could believe those two things. But like they have been taught that, okay, wages will go up under Republican because Republicans will give the rich everything that they want. And then because the rich become so bloated with cash, some of it will sweat out of them and drip onto us. And that's how it's supposed to work. In the same way that these people are constantly looking for conspiracies. They believe that everything has somebody, behind the curtain pulling strings. But the basic concept that rich people and corporations donate to politicians to get what they want in politics is incomprehensible to them. They don't understand that, or at least they don't have a problem with Republicans taking that money. It's like, if it's too obvious, they've been taught to not trust it, even if the obvious thing is true. It's almost more suspect because it's so obvious at that point. When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?